On the build show today, Jordan and I are back at our hidden door in a shiplap wall project. Our owner's been in now for a while. He's got his collection moved in, so we thought we'd come back here, talk about a few more details than last time, and give you some tips and tricks if you're planning a shiplap hidden door, as well as a few things we actually might do differently the next time we do one of these. Okay guys, we're back. If you haven't seen this before, this is a shiplap project. We're actually inside a upstairs closet, and inside this closet we've got a hidden door for a sweet collection, and we've actually got a second hidden door right over here for storage. But on today's video, we wanted to give you a couple tips, a couple tricks. We wanted to run through all the different pieces of hardware and things that we did here. So Jordan, first off, show us how this sweet gun closet door works.
All right, so we went with a vertical shiplap because one of the tricks or one of the problems with a hidden door normally is you either have a horizontal seam of the top of the door or a vertical seam if you're running horizontal.
Yep.
So what we did is we went floor to ceiling with a vertical shiplap and are able to hide this first piece of shiplap like a inset cabinet door. These are inset cabinet door hinges hiding our lock, our Door King keypad.
Okay.
And then it pushes it right open. And because we went floor to ceiling, you do not see the door having any seams at the top or bottom. We also held it off the top of our ceiling by about 1/4 of an inch all the way around this room, so that further hides the door. Even when there's not an operable section of the wall, we keep that 1/4 inch on both the top and bottom to really make that door disappear.
Yeah, you get that black line really that's running all the way around the room. And I like, Jordan, how you, even as you go around the room, ran, let's say, the seam on the ceiling.
Yeah.
When the door's closed.
Yeah, I'll
Close the door real quick.
Show it here.
The ceiling seam runs right into the door seam, so you kind of had to pre-plan all those
Yeah, and
spaces.
this is common details. Anytime that you're doing a shiplap wall, ceiling, anything that is a repetitive sequence, always think about layout. Layout is the biggest thing.
It's like a tile layout, really.
Yeah. You want to make sure that everything works nicely to where your ceiling lines up with all of the seams. If you can, you try to get the seams to not die in an awkward position. You just think everything through. You're going to make compromises because unless you're building a brand new house and can really put everything exactly where you want, you're going to have to make some compromises, but make sure the things that matter and will really make the project pop, make those happen, and then hide the compromises in other less obvious places.
Now this gap, Jordan, we're like somewhere on 1/8, maybe 3/16 on this shiplap gap?
3/16 gap.
And tell me about the gap that I'm seeing here. What's that dimension?
Yeah, so that's a 3/16 gap. One of the things that we would have done, that we would do different if we did this again, is maybe hide this darker black gap here where this panel is. You can see back into the closet behind. You can also see it over here on the hinges. There might be something easy we can do here to hide this one with a small piece of painted material to close that up. It gets harder on the hinge side because you've got a lot of moving parts back there. So it's not the end of the world. If you don't know a door's there, you're probably never going to see it, but it is something that maybe next time we can make a little bit better, fully hidden door.
That makes sense. Now open that up one more time and walk me through, Jordan, the different parts and pieces on the inside and a couple tricks for this layout.
Yeah, well, first of all, you notice that when we put in our code,
by the way, we will change this code for our clients.
The door pushes itself open.
One
of the challenges to having a magnetic door lock here is all it does is it releases
the magnet. Right.
But it doesn't push anything out. So we went with a hot rod pusher. So when you shave the door handles off of a hot rod, you got to get in it and you use an electric key that releases a latch, and then these pushers push the door open. Same thing here, just retrofitted for a big safe door.
That's pretty
and
cool.
that pushes it open the first few inches. It pushes with about 25 pounds, so even with a big heavy door on it, it's enough to get it started, and then you can grab and open it up.
That's pretty cool. So that's Street and Show is the manufacturer on that.
Yep.
Great reuse of something else. And then it's pushing on just a regular piece of angle iron, right?
Yeah, so we just attached a piece of angle iron here to our solid core door. The solid core door, we put the shiplap on the front side. You'll notice that the hinges are 1/2 in the door and half in the shiplap to get the thinness that we wanted. This isn't a very big room. It's not a very big closet. It's not a very big attic space. So we didn't want to have big 2x4s turned on its edge and taking up more and more space. So we really tried to make this wall thin. Because of that, we had to compromise on our hinges and push them into the shiplap a little bit.
Yeah. Now, Jordan, this looks like a Liberty Safe brand, but that looks like what you'd see on the inside of a big metal Liberty Safe.
That's exactly what it is. You can buy these panels directly from Liberty Safe. Usually you see them on their big fire safes. You can buy these panels. We mounted it on plywood and then screwed it to the door, and it makes a nice extra storage, so you can have all of this instead of wasting this all with just a door. You're able to keep your collection on the wall as well.
And then you've accounted for that weight by adding a third hinge, whereas 2 hinges probably would do the door weight. Jordan wanted to make sure that even if this was loaded down, you were good to go. Now tell me about the rack system in here. What's that all about?
So this is a Gallo Technology wall panel system, and we've got 4 vertical runs of it. Each run has 3 panels. What we really like about this is it's modular, and all of these different mounts are very easy to
switch around.
So whatever your collection looks like, you're able to move it around. You get a new gun. You're able to add it to your collection without a whole lot of work, and it looks great. A few of the...
Tell me about the black that I'm seeing around that. Did that come with that kit?
No, so the black behind is just painted plywood so that it makes it all disappear. And then on the sides, we just finished it out with 2 pieces of trim so that this is centered. And then on the top, this is cool too. We've got shiplap that we painted that matches
in black.
Yeah, in black. So at the top and bottom both, we've got that shiplap, and then again, it matches our ceiling, so everything looks nice and well thought out.
Well done. Now, what's this backup battery doing in the corner? This looks like a computer backup.
So again, you can do this 2 different ways. You can have a latch that actually deadbolts in, and then when you put the code in, it pulls that latch back. If you lose power on that, it fells closed. That latch is closed. Well, we went with a magnetic release, and if you lose power on this, it opens up.
It fells open.
It fells open. The door is going to open up. So we put a battery backup on this, and this gives us about 7 hours of power that will keep this door closed. Even if we lose power, it's not going to open up.
That makes sense. And remember, this door is not a fire door. This is not a fire safe. You need a fire safe, get a Liberty Safe, and maybe hide it behind this door. But this is really meant to be more hidden as the security, not so much that you couldn't break in. I mean, if you had a sledgehammer and enough time, you can get through here, or a fireman's axe. And again, it's also not a fire-rated room. This is really meant to be, keep the kids away from it. And then anybody who came in here as a burglar that would, number one, they wouldn't know that this storage closet had anything, and number 2, you can't even see the keypad to begin with. So you've got several layers of kind of behind-the-scenes security, even though you don't have the fire
And
security.
Speaking of kids, or people like me who aren't very smart, one of the things that you got to think about is you're in there working. There's two different ways this opens. It can either completely shut off if you put in a single code, or it can shut off just for momentary to let the door open, and then it kicks back on so you can just close it again like a latch. Well, if you're in there...
So what happens if you do that?
So let's do that. So if you're in here,
let's see if it
and
latches on us.
It closes. I've got an emergency exit button in here,
which
that
means
will open up.
You could really use this as a panic room too, right? If you had somebody in your house that broke in, you could run in this room quietly, of course, close this behind you afterwards, and then pop in the room. And then once a thief or a bad guy walks in here, boom, you don't know where they went or what's in here. It looks like nothing's in here except for some Christmas storage. They're not going to know to hit this, but then you could get out later. So you could turn this into a panic room, and that'd be kind of a potential use for all the same hardware. By the way, I wanted to mention this. The hardware is from Door King. You can get in a package, and we'll have a link to that. It's about $900 for this. We started with a cheaper version, a kind of a Chinese-made $150 kit, and Jordan and
don't waste your time.
The project manager had a hard time figuring out the wiring. We actually trashed that one, and then went with the Door King system. So $900, not cheap, but this is not a cheap install. You want to do it right. However, even that took us a little bit of time to figure out how to wire it all correctly and get everything right. So we've got a wiring diagram on that if you do this. You can find that on my blog, and there'll be a link on the description on how to get to that blog post, as well as all the parts and pieces, the Liberty Safe, the Gallo wall rack system, the hinges we used, all these parts and pieces are there.
We're also using a goldenrod dehumidifier
to
keep this a little bit, you know, it's not a sealed space like a fire safe would be, so it's not as critical, but it does keep it a few percentage points lower in there than what it is out here. And in the South, when it's humid, it always helps to give you a little bit more dehumidity in spaces where you're keeping metal.
Jordan, any tips on the wood itself and selecting this shiplap that you used for this project?
So the reason we went with a Windsor 1 is it's a
Windsor 1 is the
actual shiplap, and it comes pre-cut. It's a finger jointed system, so you don't have a lot of warp, you don't have any knots.
Pre-primed.
It's pre-primed, it goes in very easily. They actually, you can change that gap here, so it butts right up against the mating piece, and you're tight, and so you're not spending a whole lot of time with shims trying to get it exactly the width that you want.
Smart.
It's a premium product, but it really makes install very easily, and your finished product from a painting standpoint is way easier. Behind you here on the ceiling was an existing sort of a big box store type shiplap, and you can just see as you look down it, it's warped, it's moving, you got these
knots.
big knots.
It didn't paint well.
Yeah.
It took an extra 2 or 3 coats of paint, I heard from the painter on that.
Exactly.
So, good stuff.
Yeah.
Any last tips or tricks or things that you would do differently, Jordan?
From a differently standpoint, hiding that seam, I think, would be a good idea. It's always cool to think about, what if we spent even more money? You know, could we make it into...
What would you do differently if you spent more money?
Well, if you could make it into an actual fireproof safe, you know, and you could hide a Liberty Safe back there, or you could spend the money to do some sort of fireproofing to keep the inside from the outside in case of a fire.
You know, we just lined these walls with plywood and painted it black. But you could line the walls with plywood, add a layer of sheet metal behind the plywood so you'd have a hard time busting in with a axe. And then you could add 2 layers of sheetrock, you know, 5/8 Type X sheetrock, either before or after that, or both, to give you at least an hour or more of fire rating. So there's a bunch of ways you could do that. And like we said earlier, this would make a pretty incredible panic room if it was a bigger size. This one's obviously not intended for that in this size. But there's a bunch of things that you could do with this.
And then if you wanted to spend, you know, less money, this is already a pretty expensive install. It's not going to be the, you know, we're trying to spend a few $100s and make a hidden room. But if you've got a cheaper collection, or if you're just wanting to have space that's not obvious that there's a closet there, this is not expensive to do.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
You're
a good carpenter and some good hardware is all you need.
Exactly. So
touch latch and 2 hinges.
From just a hidden standpoint, this is just as hidden as this. Yeah. It's just not as secure. And then, of course, the sky's the limit on how much you want to spend to make secure. I saw some on Instagram where they've got whole container rooms back behind. They have a hidden door, and then you open it up, and there's this whole man cave of guns and trophies.
I got a builder friend of mine. Unfortunately, I don't think I could shoot there, but he's got a house under construction that has a concrete vault, basically, going on, and a Liberty Safe door going into that vault. So, you know, that's about as secure as you're going to get.
Yep.
Guys, super fun video. Big thanks to Jordan and his crew for just really doing great craftsmanship. As I mentioned, link in the description below for all the parts and pieces, as well as to that blog post that will give you the wiring diagrams that you're going to need to get everything to work correctly the way we've got it set it up here. Comment below if you've got any ideas on how we could do this differently next time, or also comment below if you've got any ideas on different hardware, different things we could do, and different video ideas. Jordan and I are publishing several videos a week, so hit that subscribe button below. Follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.